So I'd like to talk a little bit about the ergonomic differences of the Panasonic S1 and the GH6. Both are really fairly big cameras, so not as big as compared to something, say, the 1DC. Let's take a look at the side here. You can see the S1's a little taller. What's really interesting is the sensor plane isn't marked. Oh, you know what? It is marked. It's not marked in color here. So take a look right there. You know, I think on the S5 and the S1H and all the S series, that focus plane is marked a little more clearly there, but it is marked. Both have an SD and a CF Express slot. I know a lot of people don't like CF Express, but I don't know. Once you get done with actually buying the cards, they offload much faster. I think they're probably going to end up being much more reliable, and they're more future-proof because they're basically little SSDs. I know the new Panasonic thing is to add the record button in red. That's obviously better than the S1 here, but the screen on this, I love these old screens. So yeah, focus. That screen being on all the time. We have a card in, it'll show remaining time left up to an hour or more. Well, you know, you can leave this on all the time and barely use any power at all. Absolutely. I know it's the old style, again, like the 1DC or 1DX, but I absolutely love it. Holding these is fairly similar. This one fits your hand a little bit better, and you can get the battery grip for the S1. There isn't one for the GH6, but you know, it's supposed to be a much smaller camera, so you shouldn't actually need that. Speed booster and the EF adapter on the S1. So they're both mirrorless, but looking in at that, yeah, they both get a lot chunkier when you go EF either way. I mean, you could go EF straight on this and probably get better autofocus like this, but yeah, I have a bunch of cameras, so I have a bunch of different types of lenses, and I'm not going to put or invest in a bunch more lenses to try to make these equal. So GH6, like the S1H, has the record button in front. The S1 has the mode dial switch. I think you might be able to do time code out that port. Definitely can't do that on the S1. That's interesting that this came up so dark. That's something I've noticed with that. The screen is actually darker. So, but the one functional thing on the GH6 that's definitely better, I think it's better than all the Panasonic cameras, is the audio mode page for 4-channel audio. Obviously this only has 2-channel audio. This has 4-channel audio. Okay, I don't know. Auto mode does not work completely properly. But as you see, the functions are fairly similar, but there is a huge benefit here. These buttons are not backlit on this. Watch this. Buttons light and the top screen lights. Love that. And see the shutter display there? Absolutely fantastic. The EVFs are very interesting in the way that they're formed. I'm not sure which one's better. This is the more classic GH style, but this one has this round feature. Obviously this has the higher pixel and it's clear. The GH6 one's quite nice too. Both have this functional rotary dial for setting your AF mode. I will say that the GH6 has more functions that are super useful. Number one being the Well, the little things add up on the GH6. Let's see if I can change shutter in minute degrees to account for LED lighting issues. On the S1, I can't do that. S1, it's just going to switch. You know, I can go 180, 216, 240, 358. I really wish that it had the minute adjusted shutter. So it's not the biggest deal in the world, but it is ultra annoying. Headphones are here, nicely out of the way of the screen, and your mic jack, your second mic, or second set of audio is here. So mic jack up there. I also like that placement better than it is on the S1, which the S1 isn't bad. It's still excellent, just different. Both can use and work just fine. Turn them both off. Oh, power switch. I don't have a preference between these two. They're both not super ideal. I think both could use a better power switch. It is nice. Neither of them are easy to flip on and off, but to see the profile with the XLR adapter, there's slight difference between them. S1 with the XLR adapter, GH6 XLR adapter. They're very, very similar overall. Obviously, the biggest functional difference between the two is the screens. So this one will come out, and this one will also, the GH6 screen can pop out and flip, whereas the S1 can, well, it does have the trick where it can turn like this, but you know, anytime you're filming yourself without an LCD, functionality of that flip out is really, really nice and something most people like. I know the S5 has that, the S1 does not have that. This is what I would typically expect here from a GH camera. So it's the same camera, it's the same battery as the S1H. This is the same battery as the S5. On these particular cameras, this is much better runtime, or at least the runtime that you would expect from a professional camera. This is more like what you would expect from a Blackmagic camera, but better. I know I brought up the screen before on this, but as soon as I put back in the battery on this guy, I can see the battery status here. Always on mode, this doesn't deplete much, if any, of the battery, because it uses the same as something like a Casio watch. So I can always know what the battery percentage is on that. And that even works with third-party batteries. Unlike the 1DX or 1DC, you can't get new batteries, and Canon has it locked out so you can't see the battery percentage on third-party batteries. The GH6 is big for what it is. The S1 is not. They say it's huge and chunky. It's really not. It's big for a mirrorless camera, but it's really not that big of a camera. Especially when you take in a monster like the 1DC in comparison. That's a big camera. The S1 is not really that huge. I prefer the feel of the S1, I believe. It does feel slightly higher quality than the GH6, which is interesting. I think they're both super durable. But it is amazing how huge the GH6 is when both these are, like, we're talking about a sensor that's full frame versus a standard micro four thirds camera. So